Okay, just before you start, I just want to make sure everyone's got a pen and piece of paper.
Is the journal suffice or do anything else?
Okay, picking up on what Erkan said, I did one, Linda was asking me how I've done this before. It's quite an interesting question. So I did it in London, and I gave my best at the time, but if you're really on your game, 6 months is like an eternity, and you're a different person. So I was really busy, and I thought, great, got out the slides out, yeah, I'll do that. And I thought, no, that's a cheat. Let's just throw it away, start again. Who am I now? So the first question is, no, but as what? Because if we are really embracing what Erkan is saying, and the moments are hitting us one at a time, at the speed of light, there's plenty of opportunity to grab a moment and change our life and pivot off in another direction. All the people out there are choosing not to do that because they're too scared or they're busy or they don't know how to. But they'd love to, because when they get home they're so tired they switch on the TV so they can zone out. And that's what we've decided not to do, because we are actually enjoying life, which I'm very grateful for every day. And that's how I start my day. So I start my day, various different things, but the key for me to start the day is I'm going to create a beautiful day. I'm going to do that every time. So that's my challenge to myself every day. I had a great day yesterday, but that's gone. This is the start of my future now. I'm going to create a beautiful day, and it's up to me, in my own image, whatever I want. And I'm going to try and throw the baggage away of asking other people's permission. Is it okay to be different from them? Is it okay for me to be fearful for different from them? What if I mess up? And just live with that. So, that's what I asked about the what. So, these are the little fun characters that I put together for a presentation at BNI a while back. And Linda and I were chatting about how confusing we can be as experts, because we've forgotten how clever we are. Because when you're an expert, everything's easy. And when you're struggling to learn, it's confusing. And we've got confusing people inside us, and we've got expert people inside us. So, a while back, when I did a standard BNI presentation, I was aware that it was all boring slides. And recently, part of that, we had actually just gone through the process of trying to explain what we did to clients. So we did creative design, and I went through a discussion with a client who said, yeah, I get that, but how would I know that what you're going to do is any good for me? And I thought about that, and I thought, I don't understand his question. And he said, well, how do I know that you'll give me what I want? And I thought, I don't understand the question. And if I just stand back on that, to me, it was an alien thought that I would ever create anything that people wouldn't like. Because I really listen to people, and in that creative process, I give them what they want. So for him to actually be scared and not get, I didn't quite understand. But then I put myself into his shoes, and I thought, oh, okay, he's never gone through the custom build process of working with someone who truly listens to them and gently explores what's to be done. So I went away and thought, I need to do a little bit of a map and draw some things out. And I drew out, the engineering me, drew out a very boring diagram which said blocks like this. And I looked at it and I thought, this is really boring. So I, in the office, there was a cartoon guy, and I said, can you make that more interesting? And wherever I put a stick man, he put the blue men. And we had a little diagram. So that's the engineers in our business, and that's the designers in our business. And we told a story with little cartoon characters. And I went from half an hour's discussion down to every time I used this diagram, it took a minute. And people went, oh, I get it, fine. And that made a huge difference, because it's in the communication and understanding how people perceive life. It's back to what Erkan was saying. We've all, or some people, Seth Godwin, I think, in terms of market speak, we all have our own worldview. And if you don't recognise that someone else may have something which is alien to you, you're doing them a disservice, because they won't buy the service that you have, which will change their lives. And that is the biggest crime that's going on in the self-help industry. There's so many people out there who need our help, but we haven't worked out, number one, which is how do we communicate that to them. So, I've been sitting with this for a while, which is everything people tell you is a riddle. And again, I was chatting to the people recently in the last 2 or 3 months. I'd be going, and I sat still and I said, my business is not working. I'm failing. So let me just look at what I'm doing and take the opposite view and say, what am I doing that's contributing to the failure? Most people are saying, where's my success? But as someone said to me, which is quite funny, you're either down the road of failure or you're down the road of success. So why not just look and see what's contributing to your failure? And then you can go, oh, I'll stop doing that. And the most profound changes that I can in when I look at myself and say, what do I need to stop doing? Not what do I need to learn to do, but what do I need to stop doing? And when I stop doing it, I get less stressed, I'm less occupied, and suddenly I can do other things. And in this sense, there were a number of different things, but the big thing that came to me was every book I read is a riddle to me, because it's written from someone else's perspective on life. And I could very glibly say, oh, I get that, but I don't really, because I'm not really listening to the subtlety, and I'm expecting the person to have actually written that message with everybody's intent in mind. But we're all so unique, it's our responsibility to read between the lines and work out what is the message for me. And we do that through coming here, sitting still, and reflecting and respecting people. If we were out there, we'd be rushing past and saying, no, that's too complicated, don't get it, mate. Anyway, got somewhere to go, off with my mates, a few beers, that's how I enjoy my life. Here's a few riddles. One that crops up to me and my wife, we go out for a meal, I'm doing this, I said, do you want some chips? She says, no thanks, I don't want any chips. Next thing you know, she's eating my chips.
But not all of them.
Not all of them, that's right. I didn't buy it, so it's okay. Calories don't count if you eat food that you didn't buy or order.
Yeah.
Here's another one. A mistake I made 23 years ago. Just before my girlfriend, newly acquired girlfriend, if you acquire girlfriends, or wife, I jokingly said to her, do you want a birthday present? And we'd only just met. She said to me, no, it's okay, you don't need to buy me a birthday present. So I didn't. Don't see wrong there. So. Here's another one. You can never walk in the same river twice. Anyone heard that one before?
Yeah.
So, moment to moment you're learning very subtle things but we don't notice, so we're changing every day. So when you come back to the river, you are not the same person because you've subtly changed. And also the river isn't the same because the water's flowed through. That's why you should always read the book a second time, because you've changed and you'll pick up different things. And we've developed different filters for awareness. We'll see words that we didn't know before. We'll read the book and say, oh, they're landing this on me. I didn't know that word before. I just skipped past it. It had no awareness. Things that mean important to us are almost written in bold. They leap out the page for us. But for people who haven't done that, they won't leap off. Other words will leap off the page. This was told to me 10 years ago when I was on a course. And I was in India, and this Swamiji guy said, and he was being interviewed, and some people were asking some clever questions, and they said, so what's your identity? You know, thinking, and he just said, I have no identity. And everyone went, what? surely you must have some identity or something. And I thought about that for a while, and it was only 2 days later what he meant was, I'm not attached to any identity. I'm not defined by being a dad, I'm not defined by being a husband. I am who I am, and in the moment I can be a dad, in the moment I can be a plumber, but don't expect me to be a plumber down the pub. I'm someone else. Okay, quiz time. Thought you might be a bit... So, we have a little prize up for it. How well do you know me? So what I'm going to do, this is a great little book I've come across by someone I'm collaborating with, who talks about how do you work out the value of the service you provide your customers. Who knows, in financial terms, how much value they add to their clients by what they do to them? If you don't, expose the fact the client will walk away from you not knowing how much value. Where if you say, come on my course and you will get an extra £500,000 a year, and this is how you'll do it, because I'll give you these skills which will enable you to go on these services, they'll go, wow, how much is the course? It's actually £25,000. That doesn't seem too bad, because I'm going to get £500,000. This is what this book will do. And whoever gets the right number of questions will get this gift here. So, first question. Just write these down and then I'll tell you answers. How do I prefer to be called? Is it David, Dave, Mr. Nyss, Davey Boy, or something else?
Clues in the badge.
Okay. Who's voting for A? Who's voting for B? C? D? E. Great. Yes. Good. Right. What's my favourite pet called? A. Snowy. B. Bush. C. Bailey. D. Something else. E. No pets in my life. Okay. Who's up for A? B? C? D? E? It is in fact E. What's my passion? A. Creating intuitive software. B. Teaching children confidence. C. Being a dad. D. Thought choreography. E. Exponential thinking. Or F. Climbing up big mountains and down again.
It does say
You
cycling.
should have all of them.
Okay, who's gone for A? Who's gone for B? Who's gone for C? Who's gone for D? Who's gone for E? And then who's gone for F? Okay. Baby, what's your first answer?
Yeah, D.
No, you
Oh,
said it.
it was between E and D.
No, you said it out loud.
Oh, all of them. Was it all?
Correct.
We haven't got the option. Oh,
So you were right. So we followed some pattern, didn't we?
that's all right.
First of that, you said one. Then I said these are all my passions, and you just assumed that it would be one. But your gut reaction was it's all of them. But we thought, oh no, it can't be right. Let's just have one of them.
I don't know what's going to do from your point of view. All right.
Alright, here's another one. What improbable thing is true about me? A. I played around the golf with Tiger Woods. B. Was once asked, are you a professional dancer? C. Surfed a wave as big as a house. D. I have a world record for eating pickled onions when I was a student. E. I'm scared of rabbits. E. Eating Marmite toast gives me hiccups.
All of them. You're on.
Okay. Who's for A? Who's for B? That one is right. Who's for C? That one's right. Who's for D? No. Although my teacher at school was in the world record for eating pickled onions. Scared of rabbits? No. F? No. So just 2 answers this time. So that's the end of the quiz. So how many did you get right?
All of them.
So anyone get what? 5, 4? All of them.
There's only 4, isn't there? 4 questions.
4 questions.
If someone got 5, well done.
There you go, mate.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on then. So just some background. So this is me in the olden days. As you might guess, I was a geeky guy, progressed all the way up the ladder. Took a long time and a lot of struggle. A lot of people, I think, in the corporate world do struggle their way to the top. You fight, you do things. I say struggle now, that's looking back. I thought that was the way to do things, but when you know other ways of doing things. This is the sort of thing I used to make in the 1980s. This is an aircraft simulator, highly complicated, highly technical. Loved it. That's one of the best times of my life until I actually went to work in a school and I realised that was the best times of my life. So it's quite interesting how we look at things. This is now the best time of my life. So 10 years ago when I came into coaching, I secretly created this company. And I wanted to work in schools, but I didn't have the skills, so I went about technical jobs, and everyone thought I was a web developer or web designer. But secretly, I always wanted to teach people confidence, go to schools, teach them the things that have taken me a long time to do. And over the last 3 months, I've decided this is really what I want to do more than anything else. So, who am I? I'm a catalyst. That's I think. Someone said, "Who are you?" And within that, it's about festival of creativity. And I just found this last night. I was just, was it last night? Yeah, it was last night. I was Googling. I said, I need a catalyst. I need this, and I discovered that. And I thought, yeah, that sort of sounds like, you know, all of us here having a festival of creativity. We're all trying to do something together. It's just a bit black and white. Doesn't quite do it for me, but we'll do it for now. And thinking big stuff. That's what I really like doing, you know, changing the world. How do we do that? Having big dreams. And if I had a little strap line, it will help people achieve what they believe is impossible. So let's see what we can do today. You know, what do you currently believe is impossible that we can nudge onto the probable list? Maybe give it a go, and then maybe each of us can hold it to account to say, what have you done last month on that impossible list? So we don't have to do this, we have impossible to do this. Yeah. So here's my impossible things that I've done in my life that I go back to, and we've all got this. So my challenge to you is to reflect on that statement, and by the time you come to the next big collaboration meeting, to say, you know what, looking back, this was the impossible thing I did. At the time I thought it was impossible. Looking back, it's quite small, but now it's to recognise at that time it was your impossible thing. Yeah. And to recognise that we don't know we do these impossible things because we look at it from the world perspective of Olympic champions. We don't look at it from my world perspective. At that time, with the limited skill sets I had, that was my impossible thing. And I cracked it, so I can do it again. So here's mine. I learned how to finish an Ironman, which is a huge triathlon. At the time, I couldn't swim properly, hadn't run that much far. But it's been something I want to do since I was mid-20s. And it was only when someone said to me, why don't you come to do a triathlon? I said, oh, I can't do that. He said, it's only a small one. And I didn't know you did small ones, I thought they were all big challenging. So I went along to a corporate event. It was swim 400 metres, run 5 kilometres and cycle 20 kilometres. And as soon as I finished that, I thought, oh, I'm a triathlete. What else can I do? And that just unpopped a cork. And 5 years later, I was finishing an Ironman completely and utterly zombie. But I finished it. I learned how to be an extrovert. Maybe a quite interesting statement too. So when I was a coder, I was a geeky guy, And I worked my way up through leadership, and I did all that stuff, and they told me, and I did a Myers-Briggs, if you know that, and I'm an INTJ. Then I went on a coaching course. And while we were doing something, I suddenly realised that I was approaching something the wrong way. That I was actually not smiling when I went to meet strangers. When I went to meet my friends, I smiled at them. But when I went to meet strangers, I said, oh, I'm not very good at this, what shall I say? So I frowned. Now if you walk towards someone frowning, they go, what's he frowning at? They frown back. And then I think, oh my God, they don't like me. And that's, as soon as I realised that, I walked towards strangers, smiling with my hand out, saying, hello. They smiled back, attract conversation. Just a wrong thing, but all out of my corporate life, I used to get on my appraisal, lots of good stuff, and Dave, you still don't make a very good impression on first time meeting people. Can't you just be yourself? Has anyone had that great piece of advice? It's a little riddle, said, just be yourself. Well, who is that? Because I'm still taking off the layers. I don't know yet who myself is. But I'm getting there, and certainly coming to this place and just taking a deep breath and trying to find out is helping. My impossible thing, I created a job teaching children thinking skills. So when I went to the school and I said I want to do this, that and the other, we don't do that here. Sounds interesting, but we're busy doing other things. And then eventually, as I waited patiently, kept knocking on the door, after about 18 months, they had a need and said, oh, can you come and help us? And I said, yeah, I can do these thinking skills. Well, we don't do that, but we'll create a job. And so for 4 years, I ran a 4-day workshop where I taught a whole class of children positive thinking skills. And I covered the topics on what I thought I needed and what I did to struggle the way to the top. And it was being brave in the face of learning. It was listening to people and teachers. It was asking really good questions, and it was always being positive. And I thought if someone had just taught me that, that was the basis of all my success, and you could do it in primary school, that was it. So that's what I did. And the children loved it. This is a quote that I got from Tim Burgess, a teacher, when I did a brochure to try and get more things, and Tim's now retired as a head teacher, but he joined me in my learning company as helping me contact. So I had a head teacher who is friendly, his family's been in education for years, and so for us as a community, that's a great contact to leverage. He's now gone back working part-time in Winchester University, teaching the teachers of tomorrow. That's a wonderful contact we can all exploit. And he loves this. He went to Winchester University and thought, great, I can change that. I've got 30 years of knowledge. They said, that sounds interesting, but can you just do our syllabus? Imagine that. A guy who's been running schools for 30 years, his family, they talk around about the dinner table. He goes to a teaching university and they say, can you just do that? And by the way, could you just write an MA or something so we can get a bit more money? So when you start to look at what we need to tackle, the system is huge. The influence is huge. But I've got that, so that knocks on the doors. You know, when you've got and that took me 6 years to get that. Yeah? This is what we've got to change our mindset. This is not an overnight thing. It took me 6 years. I sat one time and I had a dream that I would do this, I would teach in a school. I had no idea to do it. It took me 2 years of thinking, how does a business person knock on a door to get in and get a sale, but translate that into the education? Getting there in front of a classroom of 22 children, having not been through any teacher training. I got lynched one day. Some guy said something and I said, come on, everyone else! Walked back in and I tried to be the arrogant, I won't use the word, and they just rebelled. And it was the worst 20 minutes of my life. I'd lost complete control over the class. They thought, Tosser, excuse me, we are not following you at all. And I thought, shit, I'm not going to make that mistake again. So whatever they did, I did not shout at them as a group. I learned other techniques. So I went away and researched, not in education, I went elsewhere to think about how do you discipline, how do you get control. And in fact, the best thing that I had was when I experienced horse whispering. Has anyone done that? Horse whispering? Don't know what was happening. This lady was telling me, I was in the ring, it was something to do with your hips. But suddenly this horse started following me, and it was a bit spooky because I don't like horses. And I was going, this is amazing. This horse could have done anything, but it chose, because of my body posture and what I was thinking, to follow me. That's what we are. When you talk about authentic leadership, there's something inside us that magnetically attracts people to follow us. This horse followed me around the ring, and then I looked across at the people because they cheered, and I smiled at him, and he wandered off. Because in that second I'd broken the connection. And I was told that horses will give you one chance to look after them because they are fearful creatures. If you disrespect them and they think you're not being a leader and they test you, which is interesting. She said to me, and children do this, they test you. Are there any rules that I can break? And you have to say no. If you do, they go, great, I've got away with that, I'll break it again. I've got a new habit, and by the way, I'm boss here because I'm telling you what to do. Anyone had children who are yanking them around all the time? You know? So, the horse, as it's following, will invade your territory, and you have to put your hand up very gently and push it away. And that's its test to know whether you are looking out for it and aware. Because it's just done something it shouldn't. If you don't correct it, it said, you're not aware of what's going on. I can't follow you because I will lose my life if I follow you. And they go, I'll trust myself, even though you seem to be now on my own. It's better that way. What would it be like in a corporate organisation if the employees gave their bosses one chance to prove that they were authentic leaders and then wandered off?
They will be empty.
And the last thing, some of you know this, I'm in the process of creating a £1 billion charity trust fund. That's my aim. And I'll tell you about the last time. So coming back to, this is a slide borrowed from a previous one. I think my life was in two halves. Well, first half I was just surviving and struggling to the top. And the second was living by design. And living by design, it means standing here and saying, I don't like my life now, but I'll put up with it. But in the future, I want something different. And I consciously write it down. But I have no idea how to achieve it. Rule number one. If you know how to achieve it, you're cheating a bit. You should go a bit bigger. Yeah? So here, surviving means accepting labels given to you. So these are some of the ones that are given to me. So I was given shy and I believed it. People who meet me now don't realise that I'm shy, or I was shy. They go, really? How's that? Because I've learned to be. All of those. This one's a good one. Sleep anywhere. My wife gave me that, and I'm quite proud of that. It's quite good because I can go to bed and you know, within 2 minutes, I'm asleep.
So, anyway,
It's brilliant.
driving, everything.
And I don't know. I don't know why more people don't put that on the list to learn, because it is amazing, because you can't turn up energised all the time. And I recently realised what the secret is. And because my dad was doing something, he said I was really tired, and then I suddenly woke up because he'd fallen asleep on the sofa. And he said I felt wide awake, so I went around the house and did some things. And eventually went to bed at 1 o'clock, and as soon as I went to bed, I fell asleep. So what was his flaw in his thinking?
Because he was wide awake, he wouldn't go to sleep today.
Yeah. So he woke up and said, I'm wide awake. Guess what? You believe you're wide awake. If he said, never mind, I'll go to bed, you fall asleep because of the trigger of putting your head on the pillow. Most people spend a lot of time waiting to feel sleepy before they put their head on the pillow. If you put your head on the pillow and lie still for a bit, you'll fall asleep very well.
Can you tell that to my nearly 17-year-old daughter, please?
Sure. So, living by design is choosing your own levels. So here's your chance now. What label do you really want? It's your chance to change the future, rewrite future now. What label would you like to be given? Own. So I would encourage you, at the end of every week, to ask 2 questions. What labels have I been accidentally given to me this week that I've totally accepted? And if there are any, shrug them off there and then before they get too deep. And then ask yourself the question, what labels would I like to wear for next week that would help me with the skills that I want? Because we all know we will always live up to our own identity. Conversely, you can't for long do anything that's against your identity. If you do, it's called willpower, but willpower won't last. It's far better to actually lose the labels for which you need the willpower to overcome. Just find your own way of ripping them out. Okay? So that's a learning point which I've done. Whenever I see them, I can rip them out, it's gone in a matter of seconds. So anyone who tells you it takes a lot of time to change a habit has never been taught how to do it properly. But again, we're quite happy. You know, people say to us, oh, it took me ages to, it's a difficult habit, whatever it is. Really? Eat any more meat in your diet. Oh, okay. Stopped. If we accept the consequences of carrying on with a habit are severe and significant and life-threatening, we'll stop. If it's significant and matters, it will stop. People say, well, it's a bit hard. Really? In the big scheme of things, really? Are you telling me that's hard? And that's the problem. If you look back at schools, when I went back in there, it was a total conflict with the corporate life. Where someone used to chuck me a problem and say, fix that, Dave. I go, how? And my boss used to say, finally, if I knew how to do it, Dave, I'd have done it. It's over to you. Go away, I've got other things to do. And that was it. So imagine a homework assignment. Here's this piece of work, go home and do it. How do I do it, sir? I don't know. No one else has done it before. It's called research. Go and do it. There's that famous quote from Einstein. If I knew what I was doing, it wouldn't be called research. And we feel uncomfortable with putting our situations where we don't know what we're doing. But that's called learning. And as soon as you get comfortable with that, you can be in a learning state all day long. And then some really exciting things begin to happen. So these are a few that I picked up. I want to be inspirational. 3 months after that, people for the first time said, Dave, that's really inspirational. It took me 3 months to get the feedback. We're so conditioned to expect a yes, no straight away. We don't know how to do the hard stuff that might take a long time to get the feedback we're doing it right. But we've started doing it right from the moment we've decided. It just takes a long time to get the feedback. And if you give up straight away, expecting there should be a simple yes, no, because that's the way you've been taught, you will never learn how to do the hard stuff. You will never learn how to do the impossible dreams. It's like walking out to a fog and going, where am I? Do you still have the courage to keep going forwards, or do you go back to where you've always done because it's safe to sit down? Yeah. My own experience, I have a metaphor which I may have showed you, that there's a fog over there by the wall. I don't know what to do. But I found if I walk towards the fog and take a few steps, which I know, the fog moves away. If I stay here, I can't see all the steps. So with big impossible things, you work out the first and you go, you know what? The next stuff will become clear once I've done the next few. Now that's very alien to the way I was taught doing project management. It's very alien to the way other things. But I found when I'm dealing with impossible things, taking things just a few steps at a time, and then knowing that you'll have some other information on the way that will allow you to get there, is really empowering. So, how to achieve big dreams. Before we get to that, there's a few things that we need to sort out before we do big dreams. This is a diagram I use to explain personal development. So when you start off, you go, your fault, my fault, your fault, my fault, your fault, my fault. And a lot of people in the corporate world is saying, I've got to tell you it's your fault before you point it back at me. So it's like, then they go on the awareness course and they go, oh, it's okay, it's about choices. I understand. It's all chilled out. Don't tell me it's my fault. It's all about choice, you know that. And then you go, oh, actually, it's learning about mistakes. I'll get these aha moments. But don't give me too many. Want enough, you know. And you get people actually get lots of aha moments. They gather them up, they pack them, they catalogue them. It's great, got this list. Come back next month, got me another list, look. Still got got a long to-do list now. Got a long to-do list. What you need is a systemic way of learning from mistakes. Like, you know, basic 101 with business, you know, you need a system to manage all the leads and all the follow-up. You know, firstly you go into business, you've just got one thing. So then you realise, actually, oh, there's more than one customer likes me. Oh, it's too much. So you need a system to manage that, and you need a system to get back to them so you don't actually lose anything. The same is with learning. So, things that I found that speed up learning. Admit it is a mistake. And it's really interesting. When I'm teaching children, and I say to them, I said, do you understand that? And they nod. I said, no, you've got to say, I've got it. Because that's the trigger for your mind to say, that is the right thing to do. Conversely, if you admit a mistake, you're less likely to repeat it by just going, oh, I've made a mistake. And then you go, at that moment you say, what will I do next time instead of repeating the mistake? And that's it. Okay. Obviously, everyone has their own version, and you should have your own version because you're all totally unique. But you need to develop your own system of learning. Otherwise, guess what? You're a slow learner. And as you get older, people say, oh, you don't seem to learn much. Well, you've had all this experience of life, but no one's actually pointed out you should be learning day to day. Just in small bits, I'm not talking about big learning, just small bits. But, a few more things. Sketch thinking. Sketch thinking is great because it helps you unpack. This is sketch thinking. Very simple. Here's my book. Oh, actually, you've got a... So, someone taught me something that you could ask people 6 seemingly simple questions and they would unpack scenario. And I couldn't get it in my head. I knew they were really good. So, I remember these 6 just by drawing them out. Okay, so has anyone heard the question, square peg, round hole? So, this is me now. This is where I want to go. So you ask, where do I want to go in the future? You can do this with a client, they'll tell you. Oh, so where are you now? Why do you want to go into the future? Why are you moving away from now? So those are just by why questions. Incidentally, how did you get here? And what's stopping you doing this? If you follow those 6 questions with any customer or any situation, you will find out the complete map of what you want to do. And the chances are these here obstacles are like million impossible dreams that as far as the client is concerned, they're totally unsolvable. That's why he's never gone down that route. But with this logic, you say, okay, so if we can solve these unsolvable things, we can get to the end. And you go, yeah, but they're unsolvable. Well, according to you, they are. But I'm an expert, so I can do that one. I know an expert who does that one, and I know an expert that one. We just need some cash. Well, that's another improbable one. Okay, well, let's put that down there. You need some cash. I've got an expert who does that. We'll get started. So I've learned that actually sketch thinking solves the problem you and I were talking about then, the communication barrier. Because if nothing else, they're left with a picture. Sketch thinking, worth considering. Here's another picture. This is another example of sketch thinking I've used, where I say to people, we're all contained by what I call a glass container. They're all different shapes and sizes, and they vary. But at any time, our thoughts about time, money, what's possible, fears, doubts, and worries is containing us. And sometimes we need to do something that just shatters the walls, that allows us to do the things. So if I'm scared of spiders, I need to just pick up a spider or do something, or maybe just walk towards it, going, oh, and then walk back again, because I'm actually pushing the boundaries. And that, when you think about it, is that sometimes the first obstacle is to get rid of the fear, and then you can get the skill. I don't have enough time in the day to do that. Well, the first thing is to change your perspective of time, because you're always having that. Here's another one. This is something I use, so I'm going to skip through because I haven't got time, but I will be talking about this next week. How do you turn a great idea into commercial success? This is a problem I was having with clients. They thought, while I was me, it was great, I knew, understood this, I've done this for many years, but I had to turn it into 5 simple steps before they could take it away and go, oh, I know, it's very simple. Dave knows what he's talking about. And I'll have some time to get up to dreams. The other thing I want to touch is exponential thinking. Exponential thinking is, so let's give you an example. So do you have a target figure that you would want to earn within your company this year? Yeah. So write that down. Whatever the figure is, round it up. So exponential thinking is just add a 0 to it. That's your new target. That's it. So you just now sit there and think, how the hell do I do that? And you work it out. You just treat it as a problem. And the reason that's good is, if you get anywhere near that, you'll have blown your other target by at least three times.
10 times.
And it's the hard stuff that we shy away, because you go, oh, that's too difficult. But actually, it's just, in this environment, easy. Because people will just tack it from different ways and say different things. Okay, so, moving on. This is the simple way that we chase big dreams. So let's have some dreams. What have you wanted to do since you were a child and not yet achieved? Maybe you will achieve everything.
So when you're a child, you have big dreams, and then society gets hold of you and your dreams go down. And then when you enter this world, your dreams start getting bigger.
You might not be able to answer that, it might not be there. Here's another one. What story would you love to be able to tell to your grandchildren? That's another.
I did it.
So another way of looking at this is, let me go in the future and just imagine, because that gets us into a story framework. You know, we're not looking. So when you get into a make-believe world of writing stories, we can imagine things, and therefore we're not constrained by reality. Well, you never are. It's up to you to constrain your reality. It's up to you to say, you know. And as I said, I wanted to work in school. It took me 6 years. You know, I'm going to raise £1 billion, so 20-year project base. I'll get there. Better time. So sometimes come at things in different angles. Last one. What did you hope to come true by joining VCOP? What was your dream? Maybe it was simple, financial. Maybe it was like me, a bit of a rescue, just come and meet some nice people, because out there I was a bit bruised. But then I thought, oh, this is a nice place, I could do things. Oh. And then my mind started wandering. What did you hope to come true by joining VCOP? So those are little one, they're like what I call the shopping list aspect. Let me go down to the supermarket, I'm going to buy some beans. That's how it starts. You don't have to write an essay, it's just a wish, a whim. You know, remember when you were a child and you had a Christmas list and your parents say, what would you like? I want a Formula 1 car. Be realistic. You know, it's like, no. You know, just write it. Who knows what's going to come down in 10 years' time that allows you to take that step forward, especially if you begin to share it with people. You know what, I've always wanted to be a Formula 1 car. Really? Well, my mate's looking for an engineer. Really? But unless you start talking about your dreams, this thing, people want to help you. It's amazing. If you tell a genuine story, people want to help you. So here are the 3 R's. Yeah? So what do we do with those dreams? Well, here's the form. I've made it easy. You just fill out this form. And I'll go through it, and we might not because I've talked too much. And I'll just go through it. So where it says the impossible goal, that's the thing that the impossible goal bit is that little wish list, you know, like I want to raise £1 million for charity or whatever it is. And underneath it, you add a bit more to it. So the better, fuller description. Right, okay.
Can I get my... I had my pen. Is my pen there? Thank you.
You add a fuller description that has some emotions in it, okay? So emotions are important, recognise. Then we come back to this diagram here, alright? So we're here and now. This is our dream in the future. So what we've got to start working out is what is wrong with the now that's going to push away from the here. So the left-hand box, so the middle box, which is why away, is why do I hate my life now? Or what is wrong with my life now that will be great if I'm replaced in the future? And then looking in the future, why do I really want that? And when you do that, be as emotional as you can. You know, it doesn't really work if I want this and that. It's very factual language. The more emotional you can get about it, the better. Okay. I'm just aware of time, so I'm just doing that. But yeah, the interesting thing that I found is that it's the away from reason that will get you into motion first. And I've realised there's a flaw with us, because we can talk about positive things and we talk to our clients about positive things. It is the negative that really pushes the people into I've had enough of this state, and they want to move forward. Okay? The problem with dreaming about the future is it makes the current state feel okay, because you become connected with the future and disconnected with the present. And therefore you see no reason to move. If you connect with the present and realise this is rubbish, I've had enough, that's the mindset that's going to move you forward, especially if you've got lots of impossible obstacles in you. How many times have we heard people say, I'm not going to let anything come between me and my goal? And they end up as Olympic champions. Us ordinary people say, well, yeah, not on a Monday, I'm a bit tired from the weekend. Later on in the week I'll get some energy somehow. And we give away our goals, because those preconditions never come. The other one, which I think is a real one, is like far right. What if I never achieve this? What if I never achieve this? How would I feel talking to my grandchildren? That's your reality check, to keep looking at that every week and say, what am I going to do? And the final bit at the bottom, which is a bit long, is really going, what will it be like in the future? In the future, it will be brilliant. But what else could I do once I've got to the future? So that's almost powering us on. So it's saying, with the struggles necessary to achieve this goal behind you, and with the kudos of having achieved this goal, what would your confidence and reputation be like? Or what could you now believe is possible with this self-improvement in both mindset and skills that you have not considered possible before? So that's you putting yourself in the future and saying, right, I've already done that, what could I now do? And that's really empowering. The practical plans bit, so to bring that through, is big chunks. It's not finite detail. This type of thinking is not, when I mean practical, it's not small scale. It's the big chunks. So when we did the triathlon, I need to cure my fear of water, I need someone to teach water, I need to do this, I need to do this. 7 things. They could be all big in their own right, but at this level here, you only want to identify the 7 things that you need to do, and then you can break it down. Yeah. Otherwise, we get trained to this bog down of detail, and we never get anywhere. You'll solve all the problems as you go along. All right? Think what, not how. The how comes later. What do I need to do? What obstacles do I overcome? You can always find someone. In this room, there are so many talented people. You just wander up to people and say, look, I don't really want to solve this problem. Can you do it for me? I'll delegate to you. And you do that by just saying, any idea how to solve this problem? And while they're talking, you turn the recorder on, you're going to have a coffee, and you come back and go, thank you. I'll listen to that later. That's what you need to be able to do to really use the talent in the room. Lastly, what's an easy first step? There's all these big obstacles. Let me go and talk to Andrew and see if he can solve the first one for me. I've got a few. That's your first step. That's all you need to do. I'm walking towards the fog. It'll become clearer once I've talked to Andrew. Relentless action, you just repeat that process that I told you about. Keep going. Momentum support group, you come here. You meet with other like-minded people. You have little moments of joy every day that are your moments of joy. My moment of joy, getting up early, driving half an hour to a cafe in Isha. They've got lots of pictures of mountains, and I sip coffee and I dream for a week or two. That'd be nice. For an hour or two about how my day's going to be good and how I'm going to do things. And I feel energised, and I go out, and guess what? I bump into people and they're like, because I'm in a good mood. Because I've started the day the way I want to start the day, not the way my family want me to start the day. Lastly, everything people tell you is good. I've got a diagram here that you can take away. Lastly, big dreams, 3 things. Big dreams require collaboration. Big dreams require personal growth. If you think you're going to get a big dream with all the skills you've got now, you've chosen the wrong dream, because you're already doing it. And the other thing, reminding you, if it was easy, you would have already done it. And that's me. Thank you.
Wow, well done. So, how are we doing for time, Linda?
Yeah,
Do you want to answer some questions?
Yeah.
How long have we got?
I've got
5
several
minutes.
5 minutes, yeah, far away.
things. Exceptional, I thought that was top drawer. Just in terms of the how you put the story and everything. So I've got 3 questions, one observation, 2 questions.
Yeah.
When you went back to I have no identity,
Yeah.
and then you say, when I'm a plumber, I'm a plumber. When I'm a pub, I don't want to be a plumber, I'm whoever I am. My observation was there's a lot of talk about being authentic, you've got to be your real you. From your perspective, how does authenticity connect with identity, if at all? Is it one of the same side of a coin?
Okay, can I answer that one first?
I've got 3 other questions. So.
Okay, we'll take that. So for me, my identity is based in my core values. So my identity means I'm authentic all the time. So I've worked out some core values like that, and my identity is those values. So I walk into an environment with those values, like treating people respectively. That's how I hold on to my identity. It's not with a role or anything else like that. So, yeah.
Okay. On the quiz, you had on third question there was exponential thinking,
Yeah.
and there was
Thinking choreography.
yeah difference.
Exponential thinking is where you get a very small change and then it skyrockets. So you start this, came back to what Erkan's saying. You do something very small that's different and you think it has no effect. Exponential thinking is, you know what, this is the one thing that's going to do that. So if you imagine, like, Tony Robbins used the analogy of a golf swing. You hit a ball, you're a millimetre off of the face of the club, and the ball starts, and it goes like that. And we are trained to think that things only happen linearly, so therefore we must have a big change here to have a big outcome. When you understand leverage of emotions and people's connections, you know, think of a party. Someone has to get up and be the idiot first. There's a great TED talk that says it's the second person that is, because he is the first person to put his trust in and follow.
First follower.
And then the sheep come in. Yeah?
So, and thinking choreography, the other one was that?
Thinking choreography is, I've just thought that up. So it came to me when I was teaching, so I've got a couple of children I teach maths to who are struggling to work out different techniques. And when I was explaining her NLP techniques, as in thinking and emotions, I found myself, because she does dance, I said it's a bit like thinking choreography, because I knew she understood dancing.
Okay.
What we need to do is we need to choreograph your thoughts in a different pattern, so you end up with a different outcome. And I said, you know how you learn different dances? We've got to think of a new pattern that stops you going down the anxiety route and allows you to go calm. She goes, oh, that sounds good. So I suddenly thought, thinking choreography. That's what I do. Because then I said, and when I teach you, when you know how I do it, I'll teach you how to do it. How cool would that be? She said, oh, that's great.
So in the last 3 weeks, I've come so close in the thinking pattern of giving everything up completely. No, never. And it's like, well, if I give up, what's the option? There is no other option. In terms of the space I'm in terms of my business and what I want to do, so I can only achieve what I've called, you know, one of the labels I've called life billionaire.
Yeah.
So everything that I create around On Spirit is creating life billionaires in that thinking. So, and your thing around the sketch thinking, and what that last thing here? On momentum, the support system. I've just designed an accelerator that we're launching end of this year. The blueprint of that is that. Unknowingly, I'm looking at it, that's exactly what I created. So I create the 3 steps you've got there. You've got like purpose and desire, I call that the inner game. You've got practical plans, that's the game plan.
Yeah.
I've got inner game plan, and an outer game. And the outer game is the relentless action. So it fits that same pattern. So if you see it somewhere, you don't think that.
No. People are always nicking your ideas.
Yeah, I know. It just fits that. I'm looking at it thinking, wow, that's like a big collaborate, fantastic.
Yeah.
But you put your dreams out, impossible. I thought you hadn't achieved the school thing yet. And I said, well, I can do that because we've just designed, On Spirit's designed a critical thinking course for schools.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that.
Okay. Any other?
I think we're going to have to. How fascinating was that, everyone? Can we get, please, a massive round of applause to Dave Nyss? As Jill said, it was going to be awesome. I thought it was fantastic. So, anything else you want to add?
If you would just flip on a few slides. So it's just next month's masterclass is.
Oh, what date is it? I don't know. What's the date for our next meeting? It's the second Friday of the month, so I think I don't have the date on me, but we'll get it.
Next month's masterclass, and I left that blank actually because it was about 2 o'clock in the morning when I finished this. And what I've decided is I will show you how to use sketch thinking to wow your clients.
14th of October.
14th of October, thank you. Right, so we've got, can you make a note of who's coming? So Dipak's a yes, Andrew Foy, Beiju,
13th.
Vanessa, and Simon Thomas.
You got space?
Yeah.
And Mitch. All right, tell you what. That's it, 6, the rule 6.
Who was that?
Dipak, Andrew, Vanessa. It is Vanessa, isn't it? You know what? I did that without a name tag.
Because there was not one.
Oh, Oh, well, you know, they do, Simon and Mitch. Sorry, Andrew. Just that's how the cookie crumbles.
By myself.
Cool. Can we just have another round of applause? I thought that was spectacular.